some sad news. I know you're a big sports fan across all sports, and you always get a chance. I see on your Facebook when someone passes away, you always post something. Well, we had two basketball legends pass away today here on Wednesday, the June 12th. First, it was Jerry West, the logo NBA legend and champ, and then just a few maybe within the hour, Robert Hughes Sr., longtime high school basketball coach in Fort Worth. He passed away at the age of 96. Um, yeah, just what's your thoughts about losing two giants of the game?
Well, Jerry West is the top three player for me. A favorite player of mine. Yes, I only got to see like the tail end of his career, and I didn't get to see much of that because they weren't showing a lot of NBA games then. But I really loved Jerry West because he was one of the most competitive guys that I've ever known that stepped on the court. Um, and it's a shame, when I woke up and I saw that this morning, it kind of put me in a sour mood a little bit, it's because that is the NBA logo. If Jerry West would have been born in any other era besides the Bill Russell era of the 60s, he'd probably have more than 9 championship rings. He's got 8 as an executive, which is unbelievable. And he's got 1 as a player in 1972. And as you said before, the NBA logo is, a picture of Jerry West, like I said, one of the most competitive guys, and he's the only guy, kind of like Chuck Howley in the Super Bowl, to win an NBA final in 1969 and be on the losing team. That just tells you what you need to know about Jerry West. Great guy, rest in peace. He lived a long time. He's 86 years old. That's a long time to be on this earth. But what he meant to the NBA, during the 60s and the 70s was, it's unapproachable. And then you mentioned Robert Hughes, senior, one of the winningest coach in high school level in basketball. When I moved here in the 80s, in 1980, they were talking about Robert Hughes then. He coached until to the almost the odds, after that. What did he give? The opportunity he gave so many people from the inner city of Fort Worth, a lot of young African American men, is something that's just unbelievable. And I do have a story about Robert Hughes. We were at a tournament, the Waterburger tournament back in the, I think it was going to be, I'm going to say like the early aughts. And, back then Dunbar had, 15 players deep on their team, that they're almost were interchangeable at times. And so he's got a lead on, I believe it was Eastern Hills. I believe it was, or I can't believe it was Eastern Hills or South Hills. And every time that, they would make a mistake, either defensively or offensively, he just sub 5 guys in. He just sub 5 guys in. They could play a minute, they could play 10 seconds, they could play 5 minutes, but as soon as somebody made a mistake, he shipped in another 5, and the whole time he just sat there with his little clipboard and his legs crossed, and he never gave any eye contact. All he would do is just raise his finger. That meant new starting 5 to go in. It was one of the funnier things from the stands, but he had the ability to be able to do that. The Waterburger tournament should have been called the Robert Hughes tournament a long time ago. It was way, way overdue. I hate it that they don't have that name now associated with that. If you go in there and see the banners of all the years that Dunbar won it, his name is all over that. What a wonderful icon. And it's 96 years old. It's unbelievable to think that he's that old, because he didn't look that old when he retired, to me anyway. But he's been gone for a while now on the retirement side. But what he did for the Fort Worth ISD, for decades on decades, is it's unmatched to me. Rest in peace. He was an icon.
Yeah, he's got his name on the court there at Wilkerson Grimes Center in Fort Worth. Check out my story on gmsportsmedia.com. Just some numbers. He's got the most wins all time for any high school boys basketball coach with 1,333. He's got like an 84% winning percentage over a coaching career that spans 6 decades. That's insane. He started his career with IM Terrell in Fort Worth. It was a part of the PVIL league, and won 3 state titles with that team. went to the state tournament 5 straight years, and then took Dunbar. He was at Dunbar from 1974 to 2005. Um, only won 2 state titles, but took the team to 12 state tournaments, including 10 in 17 years. So, Dunbar was back then, that's when you were kind of growing
Mhm.
up and in high school, and Dunbar was, one of the top teams in the state.
Well, I remember you would absolutely go and watch them in late playoffs, regardless of where you were at, because you're like, man, we got to see this Dunbar team, because you always had the anticipation that this was going to be the team that was going to win it. And then it was always seemed like Heartbreak Central, down in Austin, at the Farrell Center. It seemed like it seemed like more often than not that they were losing those games down there, which kind of always left a bad taste in your mouth. But yeah, they were a must watch because they were entertaining. They played an entertaining style of ball that you're seeing now in the NBA. It was an up and down, not really sit back, structured high post and cutting away. I mean, they used their athleticism on the defensive side to create their offensive opportunities. And it was fun. It was really fun. And he was a little animated, so that made it fun too, the old school approach. So that helped it. And he could coach them hard. Back then, it wasn't a whole lot of, throwback against, getting yelled at and getting called names or whatever be the case, so you kind of appreciate that old school approach.